Hey, hello, and welcome to this episode of Learn Everyday English, your roadway to English proficiency. Glad to have you with me today, getting some good comments on my previous videos and the time I've been back since my long hiatus. Hiatus is like a kind of like a long period of time where I've been idle, or maybe you could say somebody's been on vacation or been kind of away for a while, my hiatus. But I'm back and motivated and encouraged by all the comments. And hopefully you'll continue to watch these videos and the channel will continue to grow. Got my kind of Western cowboy type shirt on today. No cowboy hat. I don't have any cowboy hats or cowboy boots because I'm not a cowboy, even though I live in Texas. I do have a pickup truck, or sometimes we say a pick-em-up truck. But a lot of people here in Texas have pickup trucks because they're very convenient. But I got another video for you, hopefully a little bit different. I like to change it up a bit. Not stick with the kind of same old language learning videos where you're going over grammar or words and that type of thing. Try to speak naturally, like somebody on the street you've been having a conversation with here in the United States. And I'm going to be talking about 10 things I have learned in my life. I think I might have done a video like this a while back. I don't even remember. It's been a while. It's been a long time, or it's been quite a while. But before I get into that, there's 3 things you can do for me. Hey, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and 3, tell your friends about it so that they can benefit from these videos too, just like you. All right. Well, if you don't know it, and I think I've mentioned it before, I'm 60. I just turned 62 years of age on September 5th of this month. So I guess to me, age is, as we say, age is just a number. And good thing, though, is that when you turn 62 here in the United States, you have the option of drawing your Social Security. And I say I opted to do that, or I elected to do that, or I chose to do that. If you wait a little bit longer, you can take it like at 65 years old or 67. And you would get a little bit more money per month, but I decided not to wait. And I could say take the money and run, as another expression, or get it while the getting is good, because here in the United States, the people that work now pay into Social Security so that people like me who have retired have a Social Security income. But, there's talk of how long Social Security will be around, how long it will be solvent. Solvent means like it will be functioning normally. Some people say Social Security will run out of money sometime in the future. So rather than wait, I thought I'd play it safe and, get what I can get right now, just in case something happens in the future where it may not be available. But then I say that to say this. I've been around the block. I've been around the block a time or two. That's another expression. That means I've experienced certain things in my life because I'm 62. Might not have had it as bad as some people, but I've had certain challenges and issues in my life. And I've learned a few things, and I want to share those with you. I got 10 things I want to share with you that I've learned. So let's jump right in. The first thing, and I'm going to give you maybe a little background on why I think the way I do. The first thing is people won't change just because you want them to. They have to want it for themselves. Again, people won't change just because you want them to. They have to want it for themselves. I learned this, throughout my life, but I really learned this. We say, there's another expression in English. I learned this the hard way from my first marriage. I was married for 24 years, which is a long time. And we had our ups and downs. We had some good times, but we also had some bad times. And I thought if I was, too, I could say I was somewhat naive going into marriage, and I was idealistic. I thought kind of the best. I was real optimistic. I thought that if you can love someone enough, show them how much you care, show them how much you love them, that they would change or make some changes. It's not always everybody. Everybody has their issues in a relationship, but I thought if I show this person how much I love them, then maybe they would make some changes because of that for me. But I realized throughout the 24 years of marriage, either some people can't change or some people don't want to change. And that was kind of a hard reality for me to realize and accept. But it was a lesson learned that I shouldn't really expect people to change necessarily. And so when we did end up getting divorced after 24 years, and to get divorced was a decision I made, and I initiated that. I'm being kind of upfront and open with you. That was the hardest decision in my life I've ever had to make because I felt I failed. I grew up Catholic and thought that marriage was, forever, and divorce was not an option. But I had to make that decision, and I struggled with that for a long time, but I finally did. And it was the hardest decision I've had to make in my life. But looking back on it, it was a decision I had to make, and in a way, I'm glad I made it because for a lot of reasons I won't get into. But I learned that the hard way. So after that, I realized that it shouldn't be my thought or intention that maybe people need to change. I need to find the right person and accept them for who they are and make a decision based on that. The second thing that I learned in life is life isn't always fair, or life doesn't always make sense. Life isn't always fair. Life doesn't always make sense. I'll give you an example that happened to me. I had a cousin. He was a third cousin. At the time, he was like around 15 or 16 years old. He was in high school. And he was looking at, what was he going to do for college. He was a star quarterback on his high school football team. He was a very good athlete, very good student, did well in school, had good grades. But he started having headaches. And then eventually they diagnosed him with brain cancer. He lived in Louisiana, so his family would come to Houston, where I was living, to go to MD Anderson Cancer Center, which is, I think, one of the biggest and best cancer centers in the world. And he got treated, and it looks like he was doing better for a while, for a year, but then the cancer returned, and when he was, I think, 19 years old, he ended up dying of cancer. And this was real hard to take because he was young. We say in English, he had his whole life ahead of him. He had his whole life ahead of him. He had a lot of promise, and his life was cut short. We say that too. His life was cut short, and he didn't get to experience life like we all do. And it was very difficult to accept. And I won't go, maybe this is a topic for another video, but my brother really took it hard because, being Christians, and especially him, he said, I was praying for my cousin Ronald and prayed every day. We had other people praying. People in the church were praying, and he ended up dying anyway. And it was like, why do things like that happen? And and I'll tell you why. I don't know. That's the answer I came up with. I don't know. And that's a fair answer to have if something's happening to you in your life or loved one. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we don't have the answers, or we don't have all the answers. And we can throw our hands up, shrug our shoulders, and say, I don't know. And we have to, I think, accept that. As human beings living on this planet, life isn't always fair. Life doesn't always make sense. Another thing I struggle with too is like, say, the people that live in Haiti or live in Venezuela who were born there. They didn't ask to be born there, and they didn't ask to be going through all these political situations, economic situations that they have to go through. Why do these types of things happen? It doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem fair. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. That's my answer to it. The third thing that I've learned in life is sometimes you just have to believe and do what you think is right and just move on and keep living because you won't have all the answers. And there's a story behind this as well. I guess when I went to college, I was involved with an organization, Christian organization. And when I graduated from college, I thought, okay, it's going to be great. I'll be able to meet other Christians at work. We'll be able to have fellowship, Bible study. But what happened was I met other Christians or other believers or people who said they were Christians. And one guy didn't want to have a Bible study with me because I didn't believe the same way he believed. Another guy said, hey, I was going to hell. All Baptists and Catholics were going to hell. And so I realized I got a little bit disillusioned. Like, I say a little depressed, but I didn't really know what was right and what was wrong, what was true. I didn't lose my faith. I kept going to church. I kept believing in God, but I was disillusioned. And I realized, well, hey, why is the church so fractured? Why do we have all these different beliefs and people not wanting to, meet with me? Why are people telling me I'm going to hell and we're all supposed to be worshiping the same God? It didn't make sense. So I came to the conclusion, hey, that I just need to believe what I believe is right and do what I think is right and not worry about it. So that's what I did, and it brought me a lot of peace. And that's kind of what I've been doing ever since, because sometimes we won't have all the answers. The fourth thing that I learned is that it is better to be happy with little than miserable with much. It's better to be happy with little than miserable with much. And I learned this going through my divorce from my first wife. We had a nice house, 3-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms, but we also had a small townhouse, we call it. When we first got married, we moved into a small kind of townhouse. Then after, say, I think 5-10 years, we moved into a larger house. But usually what happens in a divorce, the wife gets the big house, and I ended up getting the small house. But you know what? It didn't really matter to me because I was so glad to get out of that situation. I went into the small house, the townhouse, and the small townhouse didn't really hardly have any furniture in it. But I didn't really care. I bought a small twin-size mattress. I didn't even have a box spring. I put the mattress on the floor, and I slept on the floor, the mattress on the floor. I bought one fold-up chair. And I bought a small table at a resale shop. We say a resale shop. It was used furniture. The air conditioning didn't work in the townhouse when I moved in. It was in the middle of the summer, so it was very hot. And certain other things didn't work in the townhouse. Like I said, I didn't really have hardly anything to my name. But you know what? I had something that money can't buy. I had peace. I had peace of mind. I had contentment. And I honestly say I was happy. All that other stuff didn't mean a thing. So I was happy with very little. But before had more, a lot more. I had much, but I was miserable. So it's better to be happy with little than miserable with much. The fifth thing that I learned is life is short. And we need to treasure each day. Life is short. We need to treasure each day. Like my cousin Ronald, who died at 19, or I was diagnosed with an incurable health condition. I don't know how serious it can be, 3 years ago. So I don't know what, we don't know, another expression we have in English is we don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know what tomorrow brings. Our life can be cut short. We say in the blinking of an eye, things can change like that. I could get into a car accident. I could have a stroke or heart attack. We had a good friend that lived here in town. He was, I think, around 50 years old. He looked healthy, but he had a massive heart attack and died instantly. So life is short. We shouldn't take it for granted. We need to treasure each day. So what I do, every morning that I wake up, I give thanks. I said, thank you, God, for allowing me to wake up and live to see another day. Help me to use this day to the fullest, to your benefit and my benefit. Don't take life for granted. The sixth thing I learned is that we control more than we think we do. How we react and respond is key to many situations. We control more than we think we do. How we react and respond is key. A lot of people say may have anger management problems. They get upset very easily. Sometimes they say, hey, that's just the way I am. I can't control it. I can't control it. But I was thinking about that. And I said, well, hey, what if somebody made you an offer and told you, hey, I will give you $1 million or I will give you $10 million if you don't lose your temper for a week, one whole week. I will give you $10 million if you don't lose your temper and yell at your wife and kids or do anything that you normally do for a whole week. Can you do that? I think a lot of people will be able to do it if there is enough money involved. So we can control more than we think we do. And a lot of times it's not the situation that is the problem. It's how we respond to the situation that's the problem. Do we choose to get upset and frustrated very easily? Or do we stop and think about it and what we're going to say and how we're going to react and maybe step back, think about it and calm down? So it's how we react to situations is the key, not the situation itself. The seventh thing I learned is that life is all about change and we need to learn to adapt. Life is all about change. And this really came to me, and I learned about this when I was studying Tai Chi, which is a Chinese exercise, you could say, but it's also a martial art, but it's really all based on change. How I respond is based on what the other person does or what life throws at me. And something happens, I change. But when I change, the other person, again, he changes or life changes. And I'm hit with something different. I have to respond again. So it's a constant cycle of me doing something. I change, life or another person changes. I have to change again. And the person that can respond, react, and adapt to change, say the best, is the one that's going to handle life the best, respond to life the best. There's always going to be changes in life. Your boss comes, he wants to change a report. Your kids are in school, maybe something happens, you have to change. Your life changes, you have to move, change jobs, you get divorced. Maybe your house gets flooded. There's always things that happen in life that we have to respond and react to. And we're going to have to keep doing that our whole life. So we need to accept that and be able to adapt and develop a, say, game plan, how to handle and deal with these changes in life. The eighth thing I learned, that's maybe a good tongue twister or English practice. Expression is the eighth thing is we have it better than many or most people. We have it better than many people or most people. We need to be happy and content and accept what you have at this moment. Most of us are watching this video, we're blessed. We have it better than most. Obviously, you have a computer or a laptop or telephone with internet connection. You probably have a house, maybe with some, if you need air conditioning, heating. You probably have a sufficient amount of food. You may not be rich or wealthy, but you have it better than, say, a lot of other people in the world who don't have a computer, maybe may not have electricity or stable electricity, may not have a computer. So we need to stop and think and reflect. What do we have? What do I have? Do I have something that I can be thankful for? Maybe you have health. Like for me, I can't eat any carbs, starches, or sugars. I can't eat potato chips, cookies, pies, potatoes, rice. And it really sucks. I don't like it. But maybe you can. So compared to me, you're blessed. I wish I could eat those types of food like pizza. So if you can do that, you have your health, you're blessed. We need to think about that. So we have it better than many people in the world. We have it better than most. And I think it's important. We need to be happy and content. This is a key word, content, with what we have and satisfied. That doesn't mean we don't strive to improve ourselves. We can strive to be better, to say get more, but don't be focused so much on just money to get, just to get. But what are you going to do with the things that you're blessed with? Are you going to help other people with that? So that's what I've learned. A lot of times we complain about what we have, what we don't have. But if we stop and think about it, hey, we have it better than most people. The ninth thing that I learned is that you and me, we are responsible for our own happiness. We are responsible for our own happiness. And we shouldn't put our happiness in the hands of other people, because what's going to happen eventually? Hey, people are imperfect, just like I'm imperfect. You're imperfect. People at times let us down, or sometimes a lot of time people let us down. And if we're putting our faith and happiness in other people, we're going to be disappointed a lot of times. So we have to find a way to find happiness with ourselves and within ourselves. That's the key. That's an important thing. So we are responsible for our own happiness, not somebody else, or not in things. People try to find happiness, say in relationships or in things. If I just get that house, that big house, I'd be happy. If I get that new car, I'm going to be happy. If I get that promotion at work, I'm going to be happy. What ends up happening? We get those things. We're happy for a while, but then eventually the happiness, we say, wears off. That happiness declines. That happiness goes away. And we want more. We want more. We want more things, more stuff. We get more. We're happy. But then eventually we're not. So that's a vicious cycle, we say in English, a vicious cycle, a never-ending cycle, a circle that never stops. You have to get off the wheel and step back and be happy. There's a song in English, I think by Bobby McFerrin, called Don't Worry, Be Happy. Don't worry, be happy. So that's my charge to you, or suggestion. Try to not worry. It's easier said than done, though. It's easier said than done not to worry. But don't worry, be happy. And the last thing that I learned, the 10th thing, is an expression. I used this in my last video. Hey, is don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff means don't get all worried and worked up or excited or preoccupied by small things in life. Those things usually aren't very significant. If we stop and think about it in a day or a week or two, it's not really going to matter. Or a lot of times we build things up in our mind. We think things are going to be bad or big deal. But once the thing happens, we realize, hey, that really wasn't as bad as I made it out to be in my mind. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be in my mind. A lot of times we are our own worst enemy. That's another expression. We are our own worst enemy. We do it to ourselves. We say we get way too wrapped up or involved in insignificant things. And if you look at the big picture of things, and this is what I like to do, we're all living on the world here. But if you look at it in perspective of the universe, we are just a small dot small dot floating in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of an endless sea. And if you think about it, how significant are we in the universe compared to the infinity of the universe? We really don't matter a whole lot. And so sometimes I stop and think and try to put everything into perspective. What is it that I'm going to do today that's really going to matter? What's really going to matter? So those are the 10 things that I've learned in my 62 years of life, and hopefully they were helpful or beneficial to you. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these things. Are these some of the same things you've learned in life? Or perhaps there are other things that you've learned that I didn't mention that you think might be helpful or beneficial. I really like to know that because I can add those to my list. What are 10 things that you think are significant or that you've learned throughout your life that have been important and that have maybe made a drastic change in your life or helped you out in your life? Hey, let me know. But these are the things that I found significant. Hey, well, thanks for listening to these, and hopefully you learned some new words, expressions, but you also maybe learned something new that's just not related to learning English, which I think is important. So we need to find things in life, in learning a language, not just focus on the language, but the language to me opens up a door to a whole new world that you wouldn't be exposed to if you didn't speak another language. You wouldn't be listening to my videos. You wouldn't know who I am. You wouldn't know my thoughts. I wouldn't be sharing them with you, and you wouldn't be sharing yourselves with me. So learning a new language brings people together in a way that you wouldn't be able to if you weren't learning English. So I appreciate you watching. So again, let me know in the comments what you thought. Again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and 3, tell your friends about it. And have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you later on Learn Everyday English. Hey, talk to you later. Goodbye.